didn't stand up, didn't we?
Learning experience. All right, guys, so escaping from the back, I'm going to show our main option here is the one that I always prefer you guys to go to. But just really quickly, I just want to explain something off the turtle. So if I'm in the turtle position, and this is the funny kind of mental cue, one of my training partners and a coach from back a little while ago, Eduardo, he always had this funny, very broken English, but it was, where is him? Where is him? Okay, so anytime you're in the turtle, he's trying to, attack me here in the position, I'm always thinking, where's him? And remember, the dangerous part of the human body and when it comes to grappling is the hip. So I don't care if his head is off to this side, I'm not looking for his face. I'm looking for him, which is the hips. Okay? So basically, anytime, just transition a little bit, I'm always just trying to find where his hips are so that I'm always able to turn and I never lose track of it. Okay, so just in general, inside the turtle, I'm always just trying to find the hips. Okay, if you can find the hips, then you're going to have a much higher success rate as far as sitting down and getting back to your guard. Now, how to actually do this is I'm going to create a slight angle. So I need to make sure that this leg isn't buried underneath it, this one here. Okay, so I'm always aware of my collars, of course, trying to defend hand fighting here, but I can't open up too much. While this gives me mobility, as you know, he's just going to get his hooks through, right? So I have to stay tight, but I also have to be up enough. Basically, my heels have to be off my butt so that I can still move. Now, what I'm going to do is, whatever leg is where he is going to extend back, and I'm going to start to transition my knee up towards the ceiling, and this leg's going to sit through. So if you end up in half guard, sure, but ideally a little adjustment and back to your full guard. Now, partner on top, if your grip is too tight, when I sit, you might get swept. So you have to be ready to adjust and let go and create space as needed. Okay, so from here again, he's in the turtle, where is him? Find the guy, start to get your hip clear, because if I try and extend my leg back here and then he floats over and he traps me, it's not going to be good. I need to make sure I can get out. My knee tries to point up, and then I'm going to sit down into my guard. Okay, just a really simple, general movement, mobility, to try and catch your partner. So when you go back with your partners, try it once or twice in a static position like I just did there, but then get your partner just to kind of sway back and forth. Think like a pendulum off the hips, okay? He's just going to transition. So you're always just kind of trying to open up, find, and sit down in a comfortable way. Okay, guy on top, remember, you start getting pulled over or dropping, start to let go of the lapel. Better to stay on top in guard than get put on the bottom. Okay, let's try that out. Do it. So that's just general awareness, because most of the time you can back take from the turtle, unless someone's really hunting for it off the mount, but that takes like a lot of effort. The turtle will come a little bit more organically, especially as you get rolling with some higher belts and jiu-jitsu. This is just going in more often. So once we actually get our back taken, the key thing here is to claim your space. So no matter what kind of variations you're adding or what details you need to put in, the gist is that when I'm starting to scrape, I need to get head, shoulders, knees, and foot. Claim that space, everything over the off to the side. Now I've alluded to this a few times, and I've said that we're going to go over this, and as far as there being a dangerous side to escape to, but easier, and a safe side, but tougher, okay? The idea is just based on the seatbelt. So you literally just take the hooks, and that actually works, guys, just fine. Sorry. So if I want to escape to this side, the arm's underneath my shoulder. So the scrape escape here is the fact that I'm trying to use the mat to pull him off of my back, okay? But if this arm is underneath my body here, it's really tough to get your back and shoulders down to the mat, so it's easier for him to resist the full escape. Now the thing is, if he has a lapel choke though, when I start to go to this side, I'm unraveling the choke. So you can see my neck is opening up as I turn to that side. So ideally, you can survive for longer. So if you have someone with good back control, you want to start to kind of push off to this side just so that you give yourself some more time to fight off the choke and then fully commit to your escape. Going this way though, if you just open up the side here, is that this whole section of my back is open, so it's a lot easier to commit and get your shoulders to the mat. I mean, like, he's not truly on my back already because I have my whole back on the mat. However, by turning this way, you can see I end up strangling myself a bit. So it takes a little bit more awareness, and you have to clear your head, and you're just gonna have to suffer a little bit more. But it's an easier doing side twist too. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So the actual technique, you guys can just go off the seatbelt, or if you wanted to set up your basic choke, that's fine, but don't put it on too tight, because obviously you try to defend your neck first and then go through your escape. So I need to control this arm. We have the gi, so use it. Okay? If there was no gi, we'd be controlling more wrists. Okay? That's a big distinction between why the rear naked choke is also going to be more of a viable option too. Okay, so wrist for no gi, gather up this sleeve, because once he gets a grip on my neck, he's incredibly strong at pulling. So I need to make sure that I'm taking as much of the leverage away as possible. So control the upper arm, elbows tuck in, and buckle down. Now, I'm going to butt scoot as far down as I can, chin's tucked obviously, so that I put as much pressure on his legs as I can, and also to get a little bit away from his control. So ideally what's gonna happen here is that I'm just going to drop my leg to whatever side I'm trying to go to, and I pull it to the side. So you see how his foot kind of fell down. If he wants to bring that leg back up again, you can see how tough it is because I dropped down, putting pressure on the outside of the knee. But just be careful with your partners, guys. If you do this too violently, you may even hurt the LCL. Okay, but that's more flexibility on his part, so he should be stretching. Okay. Tuck, drop down. Just turn it, sorry. And then now again, I'm going to clear the leg, and I claim that space, because remember, I'm going to go to this side. So my foot claims first. Now if I can't quite get it, I'm just going to release, but then I come back right away. So I'm going to this side, so my legs are already kind of committed to here, but I need to now get my head to this side too, to make sure that he can't sneak underneath me. Then from here, I use the floor like I would use a curb to scrape bubble gum off my shoe. Okay? Your bubble gums, not dark. Okay? So again, I scrape, and remember we were talking about this in the earlier class. Create a hook here to make sure that he can't just back out into a side control, which wouldn't be terrible for me. I still remove the back position, but I want to have some control. Now, guy on top, you should always recognize when you've lost the position, because you don't want to be realize too late, or for me to all of a sudden be able to overpower your position and put you on the bottom. It's better to let go of your back control and then pop up on top and at least try for mount. If you get stuck in half guard or guard, then, well, it's better than the alternative. So again, control the upper arm, elbows tuck in, really tighten up, use your heels, scrape as low as you can, get rid of the foot. If you need to push, do so, step over it right away, and then I drive the back of my head to the mat. And now from here, I'm staying as heavy and as planted on the mat as I can, and I use my back to scrape him off using the floor. As it comes on top, make sure you at least get half guard, but ideally all the way to your full close. So this is your fundamental escape. Control, so we can go this way too, right? Scrape down, clear the foot, step over. This one, this side, when we go to the underhook arm, is going to be more important to get your head to the mat. Because if you can keep his head underneath me, it's going to be really tough to claim that space. So I really want to swing my head down and bridge to this side. And then again, I'm going to scrape. So if he keeps his grip though, you're going to see here, like I kind of get hung up, and it's really tough to move from here. But this just comes to patience. You know he's not going to have an easy time attacking me in this spot, so I just have to wait and just insist on being in a controlled position. So eventually we can close it. Okay? So really simple, guys. He's on your back, so you just smear him off using it. Okay? Let's give it a try, guys. I talked about when you go to the underside arm, you're unraveling the choke already, so you don't have to worry too much about that side. You just want to make sure you're being aware. You're not going to just let the guy slowly tighten up the choke and make adjustments, switch their hands, and so on. Now we do have an opportunity. You know, we're always trying to, you always have to be aware of the submission, right? You always have to be defending against the submission, but ultimately if you don't have positioning, the submission starts to become moot. Like it's tough for him to stop you. So if either way, actually we'll do this way first here. But after I clear the position, I get to here, and he's still holding on to me, but he's not coming up, right? Like where he's kind of being, even if he had like the choke too, right? Where here he may be able to cinch this up a little bit, but so long as I'm disciplined with my hand positions and I'm still resisting the choke. If I'm doing this and then trying to turn out, it's silly, right? Use your hands to actually free yourself. But ultimately, he's lost control of my body here. So there is an opportunity here. I've never really liked doing this. I'd rather err on the side of caution to just kind of commit, defend, and let him make the decision of letting go of the choke so that he can try and get on top. But I can basically do a Homer Simpson escape here. Okay, so all I have to do is run, and I'm going to end up popping my head out, and he may even give me a top position. Okay? You can do the same thing on the opposite side, except that there's a higher likelihood you're gonna get tapped. Okay? There, it's pretty loose. Just one more time on that side, sorry. So, controlling, boom, clear. I start claiming the space, but he's not letting go. He's being difficult. Maybe he knows he's just trying to hold on. There's 20 seconds left in the match, and he's trying to just stop you from getting points or something, right? Or again, just some guys are stubborn. They won't let go. But he doesn't have any control over my body anymore, outside of just the top. So I have a pathway. As I run, now you have a longer neck. This is, you might tighten up for a split second. So if I keep my neck strong and I'm always thinking about clearing my head through the armpit, I can pop out, swing on top, and then again, make my escape. That's there. But in the process of running, I re-expose my back. So if he's savvy, he may even set me up for that, right? If I end up going here, so I was scraping, but I can't stay here and then run. So I end up having to turn my back. So he may, pop on my back, retake my back, and so on. So it is a risk, which is why I, again, like to stay and just commit. Okay, now, on the other side, scoot down, ideally using the elbow claiming here. This is dangerous. Remember, if he has his choke on, if he pops up onto his elbow, you're gonna get tapped real fast, okay, like we worked. So I'm really trying to stop that. I'm always reeling this arm in, but I'm not pulling him into a rear naked choke either. And I'm just trying to keep the wrist away from my neck, but I won't allow him to get up onto his elbow. Now from here, scraping, what I'm gonna do is try and force my head through his armpit. So I lean my head, if I was kind of tucked in towards the crook of his arm, or sorry, not the crook of his arm, but right where the armpit. Drive the back of my head or the crown of my head straight to the mat and pull his elbow high. So I pop my head down, and now I can twist him. Okay, so find the armpit, open your neck up. It's counterintuitive because here you think you're protecting your neck if you stay tucked, but now there's a hook and you get stuck. You need to open so that it can pop over top of your chin. Okay? You have a super strong jawline like I do. A little bit tougher. You guys need to see that again? You get pretty easy, guys. So again, run out. If you go to that side, I wouldn't suggest running out because you end up forcing the neck down and you're in a much tighter confines of being on the bottom there on the choking side. But you can pop your head through. Okay? Let's try and add that in. So partners, get your choke grips. That last one, just popping your head through. You have to think, like if he has the choke on here, if I'm trying to clear my head through his armpit, the higher I am, the more impossible that's going to be, right? The higher up I am, the more shoulder I have to contend with. The lower I get, it can pop my head through. So when you're here, and it's tough because our legs aren't really strong dragging like this. So when I'm starting to escape to the side here, and I'm trying to pop my head out, naturally when we scrape, we tend to drive up, right? Because we're also trying to clear our hips. But if I'm in this choke, I have to be disciplined. I almost have to pull myself low to get my head through. Also, if you're trying to turn this way and clear your head, you're gonna just get blocked. Your neck doesn't work very well that way. And same thing, if I'm trying to turn this way and pop my head out at the same time, you're tightening the noose. I wanna keep it loose, okay? Here, to the side, chest up, head up, and then again, I'm almost trying to scoop my butt down to clear the head out, and then I can turn and unwrap the choke. Okay, so just make sure that you're aware of that. If you're bridging and trying to pop your head out, you're just blocking yourself. You're putting your head more into the choke. okay? Now, last one here, just as a fun one, but it works. This is more for if you're bigger than people. And also if they have a good solid grip on you, it's gonna be awkward as well. So again, not a silly technique, but it does work, okay? This is happily named the lazy seal. He remembers this one, okay? So the alternative to dropping down is to just drive up. So again, if you're bigger than the guy, this can actually help. So if you're trying, but you know, he's just really good at keeping himself underneath you, you actually just start to drive up on the guy. Like just trying to come up high here. Okay, again, there's no real basis of technique here other than just practical experience, and that if you get your back onto the person's face, how are they gonna choke you, right? So you just have to be as heavy as you can and then just start to climb up. Okay, give it a quick try. Again, it's fairly, someone with good legs as far as putting the feet on the hips and everything else, or if you have a body triangle, of course you're not going anywhere. But it is a viable option. If you're stuck and you need to get out and the other escapes aren't working, just try that. Just bridge, drive up, put your back, your spine, your shoulder blades on the guy's face, and use your elbows to kind of hook on their shoulder like you kind of saw me do there. And use that to help pull him down so he doesn't just keep scooting forward. Okay, so try both of those out. Sink low to pop your head free, and then also try and bridge high. That's cool.